Report to Emergency Base 7 immediately, the automated system chimed through the pristine halls of Galactic Health Station Lumina. Incoming critical patient. Dr. Valix Thorne huffed in annoyance, their third pair of eyes blinking rapidly, while the first two remained fixed on their holoscreen. Another routine emergency, no doubt. As Chief Medical Officer of the most advanced medical facility in the Orion Arm, they had seen it all. Or so they thought. Patient's status? Dr. Thorne asked, their metallic exoskeleton clicking against the polished floor as they made their way to the emergency bay. Human male, approximately 35 Earth years. Multiple severe trauma injuries, the AI responded. Vital signs? Stable? Dr. Thorne's antennae twitched at the AI's uncertain tone. Clarify. Stable? Patient conscious and alert despite severed limb, punctured lung, and significant blood loss. Readings indicate normal blood pressure and coherent speech patterns. Dr. Thorne stopped mid-stride. That's not possible. Run diagnostics on your sensors. Sensors functioning at 100% efficiency. Dr. Thorne. The emergency bay doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing organized chaos. A human male lay on the hovering medical bed, laughing, actually laughing, while telling a story to the horrified medical staff. So there I was, the human said, gesturing animatedly with his remaining arm, pinned under the spacecraft engine, thinking, well, this is going to make for one heck of a story at the bar. Dr. Thorne's exoskeleton rattled, their species equivalent of a shocked shudder. The human's right arm ended abruptly at the shoulder, the wound cauterized by the same heat that had severed it. His chest bore a visible dent where the ribs had been crushed, and the punctured lung was evident from the subtle whistle in his breathing. How are you conscious? Dr. Thorne demanded, moving closer to examine the impossibility before them. The human, Nathan Beck, according to his medical ID, turned to them with a bright smile. Oh, good question. The engine was pretty hot when it fell, so that probably sealed up most of the bleeding. Plus, adrenaline is one hell of a drug, right? Dr. Plix, the young Xantharian resident, swayed slightly on their tentacles. But the pain readings, they're off the charts. Oh, yeah, hurts like nobody's business, Nathan agreed cheerfully. But you should see the other guy. Actually, you can't. The engine's pretty much toast. Dr. Thorne's medical scanner beeped rapidly as it analyzed Nathan's vital signs. Everything it showed defied medical logic. The human's body was simultaneously in critical condition and adapting? The readings showed rapid cellular regeneration, blood rerouting, and pain management that shouldn't be possible without extensive medical intervention. Nurse Ralla, prepare the surgical suite, Dr. Thorne ordered, their professional demeanor barely masking their growing unease. And someone contact the Earth Medical Liaison Office. I want to know what we're dealing with here. Already done, Nurse Ralla replied, her crystalline form shimmering with stress patterns. They sent over his previous medical records. Dr. Thorne, you might want to see this. The holoscreen displayed Nathan's medical history. Previous injuries included surviving a vacuum exposure for nearly 4 minutes, walking away from a hovercar crash with only minor bruising, and you were impaled by a construction beam last year? Dr. Thorne asked incredulously. Oh, yeah, that was wild. Went right through my shoulder, missed everything important somehow. Doc said I was the luckiest son of a gun she'd ever seen. I was back at work in 2 weeks. The medical staff exchanged worried glances. Dr. Thorne's antennae drooped slightly, their species' sign of resignation. Begin emergency procedures, they announced, and someone please contact Central Medical Command. We need to document this. This miracle? Nathan suggested helpfully. Impossibility, Dr. Thorne corrected. And Mr. Beck, Please stop trying to get up. Missing arm or not, you're still technically in critical condition. Come on, Doc, I've had worse paper cuts. Dr. Thorne made a mental note. Never, under any circumstances, accept a position at an Earth hospital. Humans were clearly going to be the death of their professional dignity. 3 days after the Nathan Beck incident, Dr. Valix Thorne was still filing paperwork about the impossible survival when another emergency alert blared through Galactic Health Station Lumina. Emergency Bay 3, multiple trauma patient incoming, Earth Marine Corps transport. Dr. Thorne's exoskeleton nearly locked up in anticipation. Not another human, they muttered, hurrying toward the bay. Please, not another human. The universe, it seemed, had a cruel sense of humor. Marine Sergeant Kira Rodriguez arrived in a flash of emergency teleport light, surrounded by a team of panicked Earth medics. Her combat armor was shattered, revealing severe plasma burns across 60% of her body. 3 ribs protruded through her chest, and her left leg, well, the less said about that mangled mess, the better. Status report, Dr. Thorne barked, already dreading the response. Sergeant Rodriguez was caught in a plasma grenade explosion during a training exercise. Blast wave threw her 50 meters into a reinforced wall. Multiple fractures, severe burns, internal bleeding. Patient's conscious status? Oh, she's awake, the medic replied with weary acceptance Dr. Thorne was beginning to recognize as uniquely human. Been cursing up a storm the whole way here. Right on cue, Sergeant Rodriguez's voice rang out, hoarse but clear. Listen here, you overgrown grasshopper. Either give me some painkillers or let me finish my training exercise. Dr. Plix, still traumatized from the Beck incident, backed away slowly. That's not anatomically possible. Her lung capacity shouldn't allow for that volume of speech. Welcome to treating humans, the Earth medic said, patting Dr. Plix's tentacles sympathetically. First time? Dr. Thorne approached their patient, medical scanner humming. Sergeant Rodriguez, I need you to remain still. Your injuries are severe. Severe? This? Rodriguez laughed, then winced. Back in basic, we called this Tuesday. Though, I'll admit, the plasma burns on you kind of tickle, actually. Kink? Dr. Renna, the station's burn specialist, nearly dropped their instruments. 3rd-degree plasma burns do not tickle. They do if you're too angry to feel them properly, Rodriguez replied, with what she probably thought was a reassuring grin. Now, about those painkillers? The next few hours were a blur of activity, punctuated by Rodriguez's running commentary on proper grenade-throwing technique. Her body, defying every medical textbook in the galaxy, began healing before they even started treatment. The burns, which should have taken months to heal, showed signs of regeneration within hours. This is officially a research case, Dr. Thorne announced, calling an emergency medical board meeting. The station's top specialists gathered in the conference room, many still looking shell-shocked. In the past week, Dr. Thorne began, we've had 2 human patients survive injuries that would have been fatal to any other known species. Mr. Beck with his severed arm and crushed chest cavity. Ask for directions to the cafeteria this morning, Dr. Plix interrupted, voice quivering. Said he was craving pancakes. And now, Sergeant Rodriguez, Dr. Thorne continued, whose cellular regeneration rates defy physics itself. Dr. Renna projected the medical scans. Look at this bone knitting pattern. It's like their skeletal structure actually becomes stronger after breaking, and these burn healing rates, it's as if their bodies view injury as an inconvenience rather than a crisis. They're calling it walking it off. The Earth medic, now identified as James Chen, offered from his seat at the back. It's a common human medical technique. The room fell silent. Talking it off. Dr. Thorne's antennae twitched violently. Oh, yes, Chen nodded seriously, along with other advanced human medical procedures like sleeping it off, rubbing some dirt on it, and my personal favorite, 'tis but a scratch. Dr. Plix fainted, their tentacles going limp. This can't continue, Dr. Renna declared. Our medical protocols aren't designed for patients who ignore the fundamental rules of trauma response. Did you know Sergeant Rodriguez is requesting combat clearance for next week? Granted, Jen said, checking his tablet. The room erupted in protests. Quick! Dr. Thorne's voice cut through the chaos. We need to establish new protocols for human patients. First, all emergency bays will now stock what humans call ice packs. Apparently, they fix everything from concussions to plasma burns. Don't forget the lollipops, Chan added helpfully. Essential part of human healing process. Dr. Thorne stared at him. You're joking. Try telling that to Sergeant Rodriguez. She's already demanded 3-4, and I quote, exceptional bravery in the face of stupid training accidents. As if to punctuate his point, Rodriguez's voice echoed through the station's corridors. Hey, Doc, when can I get back to my unit? This healing stuff is boring and I've got recruits to terrify. Dr. Thorne looked at their assembled medical staff, then at their human colleague. Dr. Chen, how do you maintain your sanity treating these impossible cases? Chen grinned. That's the neat part, Doc. We don't. We just stock up on ice packs, lollipops, and antacids. The antacids are for us, not them. And pray to whatever cosmic entity created humans that they never discover they're actually immortal. The medical board meeting was officially adjourned when Rodriguez somehow managed to escape her medical bay, found her way to the physical therapy unit, and started doing one-armed push-ups to speed up the healing process. Human medicine, Dr. Thorne decided, was less a science and more an exercise in containing chaos. They made a note to update the station's medical protocols. Rule 1. When treating humans, abandon all logic. Rule 2. Stock more lollipops. Computer, display case file 7249, known human survival incidents. Dr. Valix Thorne commanded, their exoskeleton creaking as they settled into their office chair. The hollow screen flickered to life, displaying an ever-growing list that made their antennae droop. Add notes from the Beck and Rodriguez cases, they sighed, and schedule an interview with Dr. Marcus Chen. We need answers before my medical staff starts requesting transfers to deep space veterinary clinics. The next morning, Dr. Marcus Chen strolled into Thorne's office, carrying what appeared to be a steaming cup of brown liquid. Coffee? He offered. That's the stimulant that lets humans function without sleep for days, correct? Thorne asked warily. Among other things. Also great for treating headaches, which you'll probably have by the end of this meeting. Thorne pulled up their research findings. Dr. Chen, please explain this. According to Earth medical records, a human construction worker in what you call Texas survived being shot through the head with a metal rod. Ah, you mean the nail gun incident. Classic case. Guy drove himself to the hospital, stopped for a burger on the way. Thorne's medical scanner clattered to the floor. What? Said he was hungry, Chen shrugged. We have a whole section in our medical books titled, Hold My Beer Cases. Want to hear about the farmer who performed his own appendectomy? No, I mean, yes, for research purposes. Thorne's exoskeleton rattled with resignation. Please proceed. Used a pocket knife and a small mirror, Apparently, the harvest couldn't wait for a doctor. He finished his workday after stitching himself up. Thorne began making rapid notes. And this is normal for humans? Normal is a relative term when it comes to human medicine, Chen laughed. Have you looked into our extreme environment survival cases yet? You mean like the woman who survived being frozen solid in Wisconsin? No, the other one, Minnesota, 1980. Though the Wisconsin case is interesting too. Did you know she went back to ice fishing the next season? Said the cold doesn't bother her anymore. Thorne's medical database pinged with an update. New case incoming, human male, age 45, struck by atmospheric lightning 7 times? Roy Sullivan, Chen beamed. Ha, Park Ranger. Lightning seemed to have a personal grudge against him. He survived all 7 strikes, eventually died fighting a bear. The lightning didn't kill him, but a bear. Oh no, he won the bear fight too. Died of unrelated causes years later. Thorne stared at their coffee cup, wishing it contained something stronger. How does your species continue to function? These survival rates defy every known law of biology. That's nothing, Chen grinned. Wait until you read about the woman who survived a 1,000-meter fall from an airplane, no parachute. Without a parachute? Landed in deep snow, had a bruise the size of a peach, made a full recovery. The medical staff meeting that afternoon was more subdued than usual. Dr. Plix had taken to carrying anti-anxiety medication in all 6 tentacles. Dr. Renna's crystalline form had developed stress fractures just from reading the reports. In conclusion, Thorne addressed their traumatized staff. Humans appear to operate on a completely different set of biological rules. Their recovery rates are unprecedented. Their survival instincts are questionable at best, and their pain tolerance levels suggest they might actually be immortal. Don't forget their reproductive capabilities. Yeah, Dr. Plix added, shuddering. Did you know they can grow an entire new human in less than a year and then just keep going? Please, Dr. Renna begged, don't bring up human reproduction. I'm still processing the fact that they purposely ingest capsaicin for pleasure. A junior nurse burst into the meeting room. Dr. Thorne, we have another human incoming. They fell into an active volcano. Severity of burns? Thorne asked wearily. That's just it. They're asking if they can go back for their camera. Says the footage will be awesome for their social media. The room erupted in chaos. 3 medical staff requested immediate transfers. Dr. Plix consumed all their anti-anxiety medication at once. Dr. Renna's stress fractures began emitting a high-pitched whine. Dr. Chen, Thorne turned to their human colleague, please tell me this is an unusual case. Chen consulted his tablet. Well, the volcano part is new. Usually they just wrestle alligators or free-climb skyscrapers. Oh, speaking of which, remember Jack O'Neill? He's scheduled for a checkup next week. You know, the guy who survived the 30-story fall? The one who landed on a bicycle? No. That was a different case. O'Neill landed on a car. The bicycle guy is coming in next month. Thorne looked at their staff, then at the ever-growing list of human survival cases, then at their now empty coffee cup. Perhaps, they said slowly, we should consider opening a specialized human ward with reinforced walls and a direct line to whatever deity grants them their apparent immortality. Good idea, Chen nodded. Also, we should probably stock up on more lollipops. The volcano guy sounds like at least a 3-lollipop case. As if on cue, a cheerful voice echoed through the station. Hey, does anyone know if lava burns show up on dating profile pics asking for a friend? Thorne made another note in their research files. hypothesis humans may not actually be a carbon-based life form, but rather some form of indestructible force of nature disguised as sentient beings. Further research required. Current treatment plan, abandon all previous medical knowledge and hope for the best. The day Jack O'Neill sauntered into Galactic Health Station Lumina for his checkup was the day Jack O'Neill sauntered into Galactic Health Station Lumina for his checkup was the day Dr. Valix Thorne's medical staff finally reached their breaking point. Just sign here, confirming that you fell 30 stories during a construction accident 3 weeks ago, Nurse Rella said, her crystalline form vibrating with disbelief. Oh yeah, right on to Mrs. Anderson's new hover car, O'Neill grinned, signing with a flourish. Feel kinda bad about that. Thing was brand new, you know? Still making payments to her insurance. And you walked away with, let me check these notes. Dr. Plix consulted the medical chart, all 6 tentacles trembling. A sprained ankle and mild bruising? The ankle was actually from stepping off the car wrong, O'Neill clarified helpfully. Landed on my back, bounced once, twisted my ankle getting up. Could have been worse, though. Nearly spilled my coffee. The medical staff stared at the cup of coffee O'Neill was currently holding. It was his 3rd since arriving. You're still drinking coffee? Dr. Renna asked faintly. After what happened? Well, yeah. Can't little thing like gravity get between a man and his morning brew, right? Oh, though I switched to a spill-proof cup, learning from experience and all that. Dr. Thorne entered the examination room just in time to hear this exchange. Their exoskeleton made an ominous creaking sound. Mr. O'Neill, perhaps you could explain what went through your mind during the fall. Honestly, I was mostly thinking about that coffee. It was a special blend from Mars, you know, real expensive. Also, I remember wondering if I remembered to set my home entertainment system to record the game. A quiet whimper came from the corner where Dr. Plix was trying to merge with the wall. And your current physical condition? Thorne pressed on, professional demeanor cracking slightly. Right as rain. Back at work tomorrow. Boss says I can't go above the 10th floor for a while, though. Workplace safety regulations and all that nonsense. That was when Nurse Ralla shattered. Literally. Her crystalline form broke into exactly 947 pieces, each one tinkling musically as they hit the floor. Don't worry about Ralla, Dr. Chen said, entering the room with what appeared to be a dustpan. She'll regenerate in a few days. It's a defense mechanism of her species, like how humans apparently bounce. We don't actually bounce, O'Neill protested. Well, not usually. There was this one time in Chicago, though. No! The collective scream came from the entire medical staff. Dr. Plix's tentacles tied themselves into knots. Dr. Renna began emitting a high-frequency distress signal that made all the medical equipment malfunction. I quit, announced Dr. Zara, a gaseous being who had been silently observing in the corner. They condensed into a small, angry cloud and floated toward the exit. I studied medicine for 47 cycles to help heal the sick, not to watch humans treat terminal velocity like a minor inconvenience. This sparked a chain reaction. Medical staff began streaming out of the examination room, out of the medical bay, and toward the station's escape pods. Their resignation letters, hastily transmitted to Dr. Thorne's computer, all contained variations of humans violate the laws of nature and seeking employment in less stressful fields like antimatter containment or black hole research. Was it something I said? O'Neill asked, genuinely concerned, taking another sip of his coffee. Dr. Thorne watched as their medical staff fled. Dr. Plix had to be unwound from the doorframe. Dr. Renna's distress signal had somehow reprogrammed all the medical scanners to display error. Humans make no sense in flashing letters. Mr. O'Neill, Dr. Thorne said with forced calm, do you understand why your case might be uh, 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 distressing to non-human medical professionals? Because of the coffee thing? Look, I know drinking this much caffeine isn't great, but if that helps. 30. Stories. Yeah, but I landed on a car. That's practically a safety feature, right? Dr. Chen patted Thorne's exoskeleton sympathetically. Maybe we should discuss implementing separate human and alien medical facilities before we run out of escape pods. The station's AI chimed in. Current staff resignation rate has reached 89%. Remaining 11% are requesting transfers to deep space quarantine stations, citing at least virus behavior follows logical patterns. Look on the bright side, O'Neill offered. At least I didn't tell them about the time I accidentally swallowed a live grenade pin. Now, that was a weird doctor's visit. Dr. Thorne's professional composure finally cracked. Their exoskeleton rattled like a percussion section having a nervous breakdown. How are you still alive? Clean living? O'Neill suggested. Also, my grandma always said O'Neills have thick skulls, runs in the family. Speaking of running, that reminds me of this ultra marathon I did right after the fall. The last remaining nurse, a brave soul who had survived 3 wars and a supernova, took one look at O'Neill's cheerful face and promptly requested a transfer to the Radioactive Waste Management Division. Wow. At least radiation follows the laws of physics, they muttered while packing their desk. As chaos reigned around them, Dr. Chen turned to Dr. Thorne with a serene smile. So, should I tell you about the skydiver who survived getting tangled in high-voltage power lines, or would you like to process one impossible survival at a time? Thorne's only response was to begin composing a new medical classification for humans. Category: inexplicable. Treatment protocol: hope for the best, expect the impossible, keep coffee supplies well stocked. O'Neill, finishing his 4th cup of coffee, merely smiled. You know, this reminds me of another funny story. The sound of the last escape pod launching cut off whatever terrifying tale of human durability was about to follow. After the great medical staff exodus, as it came to be known, Dr. Valix Thorne spent 3 days locked in their office, surrounded by human medical records, empty coffee cups, and what Dr. Chen assured them was a perfectly normal amount of stress-eaten chocolate. Computer, Thorne announced on the 4th day, I believe I've had what humans call an epiphany. Recording breakthrough, the AI responded. Shall I alert the trauma response team? No need. I've finally understood why we've been approaching human medical care all wrong. Thorne's antennae wiggled with excitement. We've been trying to make humans fit our understanding of medicine when we should have been adapting our understanding to fit humans. Dr. Chen, who had been napping in the corner, another bizarre human survival trait, cracked open one eye. Did you just science your way out of a mental breakdown? Better. Thorne projected their findings onto the main screen. Look at these patterns. Humans don't ignore biology. They rewrite it. Every injury, every supposed impossible survival, it's not chaos, it's adaptation. That's what we've been trying to tell you. Shan yawned. Humans are basically cockroaches with smartphones. You're a walking evolutionary experiment, Thorne exclaimed, practically vibrating with revelation. Your bodies don't just heal, they upgrade. That construction worker, O'Neill, his bone density scans showed micro-strengthening in exactly the areas that took the most impact. Oh yeah, that happens, Chan nodded. We call it getting back on the horse that threw you, sometimes literally in ranch accident cases. Thorne began implementing changes immediately. First, they redesigned the emergency intake forms. The new version included questions like, on a scale of 1 to holding my beer, how preventable was this injury? And please rate your pain level from just a flesh wound to might actually need a Band-Aid. The remaining medical staff, mostly new graduates too inexperienced to know better, were given specialized training in human psychology. Key lessons included why humans say they're fine when missing vital organs, and no, they're not joking about walking it off. But the most important change, Thorne announced during the staff meeting, is our new classification system. Humans are no longer to be treated as standard carbon-based life forms. They are now officially classified as medically unique entities with inexplicable durability, or MUEXTI for short. We could just call them humans, Chen suggested. It's shorter. My staff needs the scientific classification to maintain their sanity, Thorne replied firmly. Also, we're implementing new protocols based on actual human healing patterns rather than conventional medical logic. The new protocols included: Protocol 1, if a human says they're fine, check for internal bleeding. Protocol 2, if a human says they're actually hurt, initiate emergency procedures immediately. Protocol 3, always ask about their coffee preferences before administering anesthesia. They're probably resistant to standard doses. The results were immediate and surprising. Without the constant stress of trying to make human injuries make sense, the medical staff began to adapt. Dr. Plix even returned from their stress leave, all tentacles successfully unknotted. Just treated my first human case, they announced proudly. Construction worker fell into a cement mixer, walked himself to the medical bay, complained only about ruining his lunch break. Excellent, Thorne praised. And how did you handle it? Gave him a lollipop, documented the impossible survival in the MUEID database, and recommended he avoid cement mixers for at least 24 hours. Then I took my anxiety medication and had a nice lie down. The Galactic Medical Board was less enthusiastic about the new approach. You can't just create a new biological classification because a species refuses to die properly, the board chairman spluttered during the review meeting. With all due respect, Thorne countered, I have documented cases of humans surviving conditions that would reduce most species to their component atoms. Last week, I treated a space miner who got sucked out of an airlock, used their boot as a makeshift thruster, and complained only about missing dinner. It was taco night, Chen added helpfully. You don't miss taco night. The chairman's eye stalks drooped in defeat. Very well, but how do you propose to train new medical staff to handle these, cases? Simple, Thorne replied. We stop trying to apply logical medical standards to a species that treats fatal injuries like minor inconveniences. My new training program starts with accepting that humans are basically immortal until proven otherwise. And this works? Our staff retention rate has increased by 200%. We haven't had a single crystalline nurse shatter in weeks. The new approach spread across the galaxy. Medical stations began installing specialized human wards, complete with coffee machines, reality entertainment screens, and signs reading, "Please inform medical staff if you're actually hurt, not just mostly dead." Dr. Thorne even published a groundbreaking paper, The Coffee and Lollipop Approach to Human Medical Care, Accepting the Impossible as Probable. You know, Chen said one day, watching a human patient arm wrestle with their prosthetic limb minutes after installation, you've really revolutionized how the galaxy handles human medical care. Indeed, Thorne agreed. Though I still have one question. Why do humans keep doing things that should kill them? Oh, that's easy, Chen grinned. We're curious. About what it's like to die? No, about everything else. Death is just a potential side effect we've learned to ignore. Thorne made one final update to their human medical protocols. Warning, human survival rates increase proportionally to the impossibility of survival. Do not attempt to apply logic. Give lollipop and document for future research. The human patient, having won the arm wrestling match against their own prosthetic, looked up with a grin. Hey, who wants to see me do a backflip? No, shouted every alien medical professional in unison. But they documented it anyway, for science. 6 months after the implementation of the MUEID protocols, Dr. Valix Thorne stood before a fresh batch of alien medical students at Galactic Health Station Lumina's new Human Medical Training Center. Welcome to Human Medical Studies 101, they announced, their exoskeleton now decorated with small coffee cup stickers, a gift from their human patients. Before we begin, please note the emergency exits and anti-anxiety medication dispensers located throughout the lecture hall. A tentative hand rose from the back. Dr. Thorne, is it true that humans can regrow damaged organs? Ah, you're referring to the liver case studies. No, they can't regrow organs. Except when they do. Moving on. The holoscreen displayed the new galactic medical guidelines for human treatment, now standard across all medical facilities. Rule 1. If a human says, "Watch this," activate emergency protocols immediately. Rule 2. Standard pain scales do not apply. Refer to the just a scratch to actually dead metric. Rule 3. Never tell a human something is impossible. They will take it as a challenge. A nervous Zenthorian student raised 3 of their tentacles. Professor, I watched the training video about the human who picked up their own severed arm and used it to wave down help. That was a simulation, right? Dr. Chen, now co-director of Human Medical Studies, chuckled from his seat. That was my cousin Brad. He's teaching skydiving now. The sound of multiple alien medical students fainting echoed through the lecture hall. Don't worry, Thorne assured the conscious ones. You'll develop immunity to human survival stories. Last week, I treated a marathon runner who finished a race with a collapsed lung because, and I quote, the medal was really nice. The training center had become famous across the galaxy, though not always for the right reasons. The wall of greatest hits, featuring the most impossible human survival cases, had become a tourist attraction. Dr. Thorne's personal favorite was the case of Lisa Chang, who survived being struck by lightning underwater and complained only about her ruined waterproof watch. Every major hospital now boasted a specialized human wing, equipped with the essentials, reinforced beds. Humans had a habit of trying to do push-ups while recovering from surgery, extra-strength coffee machines, and signs reading, "Please do not attempt to demonstrate how you got your injuries." Remember, Thorne told their students, human medical care isn't about understanding why they survived the impossible. It's about accepting that they will, documenting it for posterity, and keeping enough lollipops in stock. And the coffee? Asked a brave student. The coffee is for us, Shen replied. Trust me, you'll need it. As the lecture concluded, Thorne's computer chimed with a new patient alert. Perfect timing. Would anyone like to observe their first real human case? The students followed Thorne to Emergency Bay 4, where they found a human mountain climber with a remarkably positive attitude for someone who had just fallen into a crevasse, fought off a snow leopard with an ice pick, and climbed out using improvised climbing gear made from their own torn clothing. How long until I can get back to climbing? The patient asked, casually sipping a protein shake. I've got another expedition next week. Thorne turned to their stunned students. And this, future doctors, is why we no longer attempt to argue with human patients about their life choices. We simply document, treat, and update our list of things humans have survived. The list, now requiring its own dedicated server, had become required reading for all medical professionals in the galaxy. Its title page bore a simple warning. The following cases are all true. We checked multiple times. We still don't believe it either. As Dr. Thorne wrapped up another impossible day at Galactic Health Station Lumina, they made one final entry in their personal log. Conclusion: humans are not patients. They are not cases. They are not even medical mysteries anymore. They are simply humans. And that explanation has become sufficient for any and all impossible survivals. The galaxy's medical community has finally learned to stop asking how and simply accept the various recovering patient from trying to teach the replacement organs to do tricks. The next generation of alien medical professionals would be better prepared. They had to be. Humans weren't going to stop being human anytime soon, and the galaxy's medical community had finally accepted that this was probably for the best. After all, what's the fun in practicing medicine if your patients don't occasionally defy the laws of physics?